All right, here we are back in the Mud Pig Garage, and today on this utility trailer we're building, we're going to put some bracing under this tongue and tie it back in to one of the cross members on the inside of the frame. This will help. This will help with that flexing, and it'll give it some more strength, which it really needs. So what I did was, you might recognize this metal. It's some heavy angle iron. It is that heavy angle iron that was holding on those rusty pieces of the sides, those steps and everything that had our our gear that hung the spring. So I got those cleaned off, and I got this stuff here put on. And what we're going to do, we're going to put that on here, just like that. We're going to weld it on and clamp it in, weld it on good. And that's going to give us some more strength. You might notice I painted it black. The other day I was doing a little bit of this and that out here, and I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and throw a coat of paint on this thing while it's upside down. Makes it easier to paint the bottom. So that's what I did. And so this is what we're doing today. We're putting some extra bracing under the tongue. All right, guys, let's get to work. Okay, so what we got here, we got it tacked up. We tacked the end, and we tacked a couple across the top here, where we're just going to stitch weld these things across the top. We'll weld right there. We'll weld right over here. On the back, since this piece of angle iron doesn't come all the way up as far as the framework, we had to put a little piece of filler there, a little flat bar. We'll weld that guy in. We'll weld him up. Whenever we flip it over, we will weld all across the top of the tongue onto it, and that'll just completely lock it in. Okay, so this is it, guys. We needed to put something on there. I was kind of stuck with this tongue being the length it was. It was long enough to be a tongue if I tied it into the front of the trailer. It wasn't long enough to be a tongue if I put it under the frame and tied it in. It was going to be just a little short. So we do this. This should take care of it. All right, guys, nothing left to do but to weld it up. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, welded it up here on the bottom. That's just it, you know. Just welding this top up, some stitch weld. Welding this up here, that over there. I just ran a wire wheel on it because it's all going to be on the bottom and it's going to be painted in just a little while anyway. Alright, so this is it. This is the brace on the bottom. It's pretty heavy. Should take should do a good job of taking the stress out of that thing, and maybe I don't know how much it's going to flex now. Alright, so it is time. Take this thing off of these stands and flip it back over. So just hang with me and watch. It's always interesting to see what's going to happen. Alright guys, this is a profile of it. Now that we've moved that axle, it's more in the middle. It's more balanced, even with our heavy reinforcement on front. Still looks a lot better. I think it's going to pull better. Definitely easier to move. Alright, we got things flipped over, and now we got to weld the top of this piece of, or two pieces of metal. And so you see what we got here, right? We got a weld right in the rounded part of this, and with all that galvanized stuff, as much as I've ground off, it's still going to be a pain in the butt. But fortunately, it's thick metal. Both these pieces are thick, so I'm going to jack the heat up even more than it is right now. And hopefully I can just burn in whatever is going on. And we'll try to get some decent weld in there. Just need to get a decent root in there. Need to weld that back there. And then that's about it, right? We are pretty much done. We can paint this, and then it's going to be all about getting some wood planking on it, and then getting some sides. And so we're looking at having this thing close to being done. All right, let's get to work. Alright guys, this is the initial, just that first pass in there, trying to fill up that gap. You know, it's rounded, it's galvanized, but I jacked up the heat to about 115 amps, on a 1/8 6011 rod, and that's pretty hot for a 6011 rod. But being that the metal was a lot thicker, it allowed me to cut through this mess and you know, get some better welds, at least some nice deep penetrating welds for sure. I may go over them, these welds here. I may go over those and put another bead or so on them. But all in all, really, at this point, just a little bit of paint, or a little bit of grinder and a little bit of paint, and that's a done deal. This is it, finally done. I ran a couple more beads on it to kind of fill in the gap. Once I put that root in, it just needed more filling. So, got it filled in there. A good bit of rods, but it's done. So now we have a nice, solid trailer now. All that flex that was in it before, that flex is gone. All right. So, time for paint, and then it'll be time to try to figure out how to get some sides and get some decking on it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Pops out.